what you wrote is not about you. If you read what you wrote, I will be the happiest person in the whole world if this and that. I cannot live without this and that. This I and you are the same things or two different things? This I that you have written and answered these questions, this I is your I. There is a difference between you, who's listening to me right now, and your I. And in today's session, we're going to find out whether there is this difference between I, your I, your I, your I, everyone's I, and you. If who's listening to me right now is you, then there is a possibility of magic. Then there is a possibility of silence. Then there is a possibility of meditation. But if who's listening right now is your I, then there is trouble. Then there is trouble, just the way, as long as your I is there, is always trouble. Your I has a name that you have written on the paper. You are nameless. Your I has a name. Your I has desires which you have written on that piece of paper. This will make me the happiest person in the world. You are desireless. Always desireless. Your I has ambitions, has miseries, has joys, is wanting happiness, is sometimes happy, is sometimes not happy, is sometimes crying, is sometimes depressed, is sometimes sad. You are desireless. Your I has desires. All what you have learned in your life is how to operate the I. Your I functions, not you. Your I acts in the world, not you. If you remember, there was this movie called The Dark Knight, in which this famous actor, Heath Ledger, he played the role of a Joker. He was so intensely involved in the role, he was such a great actor, that he forgot that he was just the actor. He was just playing the role. He was so much identified, so much involved with the role, that all his life became the role of the Joker. Eventually, he moved into deep depression and had to take drugs and eventually died out of overdose of drugs. This I, this your I, which is constantly playing this role, which is wanting happiness, which is wanting things, which is wanting everything in this world, which is having ambitions, is different from you. And it's not a play of language. It's not a play of language. Your I and you are two different things. And meditation is a simple process to learn the difference between your I and you. Who is this I is easier to define, because you can say, I want this, I want that, I am this, I am that. All of this you can define, you can identify. But who is really you? who's listening right now. There is no name to it. There's no form to it. There's no shape to it. There's no desire to it. So it's not obvious, it's not so obvious to identify who is really you. Meditation gives you that space, that silence in your daily life in which you can put away this I that you're operating with and remove this I and just be. What's left? You don't question what's left. Who am I? You don't raise as a question. You just put this I on the side for a few moments and you just be. And when you are done with the meditation, you pick the I up and you go on operating, you go on continuing in your life the way you have always been. But where is the magic? Where is the difference? Where is the trick? You have a certain distance from this I. The moment you create a certain distance from this I, everything changes. Because you realize that I is what keeps on changing, but you who's listening right now does not change. I has desires, I has wishes, I goes through miseries of life. You are always a step away from it. You are always just a witness. You are only observing. You are not going through the miseries of life, of things, or the joys or the sorrows. The I is going through that. And in this session, what we're going to do is try to create this separation between your I and you. That's a very small step, but it has tremendous implications in your entire life. All the problems, the miseries, everything that is troubling you you will see it's a derivative of I. I is rooted in the world that is filled with all these miseries, problems, things that you're dealing with. You are not of this world. Your I is a part of this world because it is created by this world. Your name, who gave you this name? You did not choose it. Your parents or somebody else. Your I has a name. You do not have a name. Your I has a body, has a shape. You do not have a body. You do not have a shape. Your I has a mind. Your I keeps on living in this world and eventually one day dies. You always remain constant. You always remain alive or deathless or eternal, howsoever you want to call it. Throughout spiritual practices, they say you become desireless. You become this, you become that. I cannot become desireless. I will always have desires. And you are already desireless. You are already at peace. You are already silent. You are already at rest. So there is no even becoming. Only the I keeps on changing. You always remain constant. So in this session, I would invite you to spend some energy from your daily mundane life to try to separate between your I and you and see what it brings to your life. Not only in this session, but outside the session as well. When you practice this, when you go into this for some time, how this starts changing your life is a magic that you will have to live on your own and experience on your own. You don't have to believe what I'm saying.